Hey guys, it's B Show Brian. Welcome back to Halloween 365, where it's Halloween whenever we want. Thank you for coming back, thank you for returning, and to new listeners and viewers as well. If you like what we do here, hit the notification bell and subscribe. It's annoying to hear everyone say that, I know, but because of YouTube's algorithms, it's the only way independent artists like myself and other people can really stay in the game. And whoever else your favorite YouTuber is, go do the same thing, and I'm sure they'll appreciate it. Now, onto the matter at hand. This weekend is Valentine's Day, and if you're anything like me, you're going to be spending it due to COVID behind closed doors with loved ones, or even by yourself for that matter. So I wanted to do something kind of fun. I wanted to throw out 5 movies that you can watch with the spirit of Valentine's Day looming in the air. First up is The Special. It's a new outing. It just came out in 2020 or late 2019 from indie horror maestro Harrison Smith, who also brought you Camp Dread and Death House. But the premise is about a husband who thinks his wife is cheating on him and lets his douchebag co-worker talk him into going to a whorehouse. Now, instead of shagging some whores, he takes him into the back room and he asks for The Special. You guessed it. Basically, if you've seen the cover art, you know that it's this box, and watch the trailer. It's a box, and just like the SNL skit would suggest, he puts the dick in a box, and from there his life starts to fall apart. It's really a story of addiction and relationships, and if you've ever known someone who struggled with drugs or with alcohol or anything like that, and to a very serious degree, it might hit home a little bit. I know it's kind of a silly premise, but it's a pretty good film. It reminds me of Night Gallery or Tales from the Crypt or The Twilight Zone or Black Mirror, where you kind of get what you pay for and you reap what you sow. So it's a fun movie. I definitely suggest it when you're cuddled up with that something or someone that you love. Check out The Special. It's streaming on Amazon Prime. And if you have a chance, go buy the Blu-ray and the DVD for Harrison Smith. Next up, The Black Room. This is a movie that's on almost nobody's radar other than a friend of mine over at the Necromaniacs Podcast. Shout out to those guys who brought this up a couple weeks ago on one of their shows. The Black Room is, I believe, a TV movie from the early 1980s, maybe 1981. It's about a brother and a sister who rent out a room to people who want to live out their sexual fantasies. The only issue is I don't want to give it away, but they abduct and murder people, and you'll find out why if you watch the movie. Now, it doesn't just stop there. A husband in a dead-end relationship is bored with his sex life. He's bored with his relationship with his wife. He rents out the room. His girlfriend disappears, or his fling, his hooker, whatever, disappears. And then it leads him into investigating what's going on and actually brings his family back together. So it does have some redeeming notes at the end about the family, although it's good. I just don't want to give stuff away. So just go check it out. The Black Room. I know it's hard to find. If you can find the Taste of Horror box set from, I believe, 1999 or 2000, somewhere in that time frame, it's on there because that's how I have it. And you may be able to watch it on YouTube, although the footage is really dark. So go check it out. It's The Black Room. I don't think you'll regret it if you like early 80s horror movies. Next up on the list, Urban Legend. Now, Urban Legend does not get a ton of respect in horror circles because it kind of gets lumped in with that whole teen horror movie craze of the late 1990s, and rightfully so. It is very much a teen movie in that tradition, the whole Dawson's Creek era. But this one is pretty fun because it ties in with the urban legends of the day, stories that have been passed down to scare kids and young adolescents since probably the 1950s. It's woven into the fabric of Americana. It's a bunch of kids in college, and they're daring each other to try these urban legends, and disaster ensues. It's actually one of the decent films of that era. So if you're gonna knock these films as Dawson's Creek done, in a horror vein, that's fine. but don't sleep on urban legend. I can't explain why it ties in with Valentine's Day just yet, because I don't want to ruin the movie, but it's definitely a fun one you can watch. And hey, if anything else, there's a bunch of hot girls in it, or hot guys. Joshua Jackson was fine back in the day, and I will admit that. Buried Alive is a movie I saw when I was a kid, and admittedly, I don't remember a ton about. But the basic premise is a wife is cheating on her husband, and she f***ing buries him alive. I know, it's pretty simple. Husband survives, he comes back, and he's plotting his revenge against his wife and his wife's lover, who I also believe is a friend of his. Now, I do kind of apologize for putting a film on this list that I don't really remember, and to be fair, it's probably not that great a film, but I figured it's Valentine's Day. What could go wrong watching a movie about a woman who tries to marry her husband who then comes back for revenge on him for burying him alive? I thought it was fun when I was a kid. Maybe you will too. All right, rounding out this list is a film that usually doesn't get a whole lot of praise and usually gets knocked a fair amount, and I don't think that's fair at all. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Now, I'll admit Robert De Niro is a goofy pick to play the Frankenstein's creature, monster, creation, son, whatever you want to call him, but he does a really good job in his portrayal, and I know he patterned his style after stroke victims because technically you're cutting someone's head off after it's already been dead and decaying, and then you're putting it on someone else's shoulders. So a lot of thought went into that. Good performances, a great cast. Helena Bonham Carter plays Elizabeth, who is Victor Frankenstein's love interest, and she's got this weird, sweet innocence to her, and it's before her kind of whacked out roles in Fight Club and other movies later on, Sweeney Todd. So it's really good. She's really cute in the movie, and there's a really strong, dramatic, romantic relationship between her and Kenneth Branagh's Victor Frankenstein. Kenneth Branagh, a little over the top, a little bit dramatic, coming from his background on the stage, but it's still a good movie. You have Professor Ullman, played by John Cleese, another great casting for this weird role. And again, it's not really an ensemble cast, but a nice little cast, everyone brought together, some decent effects. The way they resurrect the creature is pretty cool, and the ending of the film is really tragic after they've set up this really strong romantic love story, this big dramatic love story the whole way through the film. So I know it's not really considered a horror movie, although it kind of is, and I know parts of it are hokey. It's really dramatic with, like I said, Kenneth Branagh's interpretation of Victor Frankenstein and a frantic pacing, and yeah, I don't know. It's a little strange. It's offbeat. It's often kind of brushed off when people talk about good movies, but it's a personal favorite of mine, and it's one I saw when I had a very, very serious, budding, raw relationship when I watched it in British literature class in 2002. So it holds a special place in my heart, and I think you'll enjoy it for what it is if you like that kind of movie. But unfortunately, it's the closest thing we're going to get for a while to a Frankenstein film. Check it out. That about does it for my 5 films to watch around Valentine's Day. Hopefully you enjoy them, at least one on the list. I know you'll enjoy 1 out of the 5. Shout out to Break the Apocalypse, my weekly podcast that I'm on with John Draper and Shaheen of Nuclear Heat Graphics and Design. Free episodes every week with exclusive content on Patreon, patreon.com/breaktheapp. And I still hope to be pumping out more content here more often as I can just freely do. So my name's B-Show Brian. Thank you for checking out the channel. This is Halloween 365, and I'll see you again sometime. Happy Valentine's Day.